Wait, yesterday class topic is what? Uh, Circuit breaker, right? Yes. So microservice introduction completed, creation completed, communication is completed, Eureka completed. What? Eureka complete and circuit breaker we are discussing that. Circuit breaker to handle what? Cascading failure to make the fault tolerance properly. To make what? Fault tolerance. How many states in circuit breaker? This is the close means all calls are allowed. Open means no calls are allowed. Half open means what? Yeah, closed state means up. Open state means down. Half open state means what? Right? See guys, now you go for the practical implementation of what? Circuit breaker. I will show the up, down, and unknown state. Or state, unknown state. You know, fallback mechanism, right? When the real service is not working, then we need to send what? Fallback messages instead of giving the bad experience to the user. Instead of what? Giving the bad experience to the user, say what? Not. Yeah, if the real chapatis are not available, at least make the, images. In movies, they will make the real chapatis are images. Not images, like bomber chapatis, right? Dal, Malay popcorn. Right. Dal means what? Bomber. Dal bomber antar my mira. Dal baby doll bomber. Like the chapati. Bomber chapati. See guys, I will show the three states like known state, unknown state, known. That is like circuit breaker. That is what I know, circuit breaker. Circuit breaker, let's discuss what is a cascading failure, what is the, see guys, microservices, well, the main important things are two. One is the circuit breaker handling, one is the Eureka server. Remaining all are supporting. Load balancing is also supporting. Communication is also what supporting. These all are what supporting. Main thing is what Eureka server and circuit breaker. How to handle the fault tolerance in the cascading failures, and one is what service registered, service discovery, and heartbeats, and how the microservice and Eureka server communication means using heartbeats. Eureka server is sending what? Sorry, microservice is what sending the heartbeats to the Eureka server. They is alive or not? They are what? Alive or not? So that's it, guys. Now let me go for the what the concept here. Implementation of the circuit breaker. Implementation of what? Circuit breaker. See, the circuit breaker means like so circuit breaker, circuit breaker, circuit breaker. Good. Coming to circuit breaker, guys. When the real service is not working, we need to give what message, guys? Fallback message, right? What message? Fallback message. See guys, let me take the fallback message. When you take the fallback method, you just read these 2 3 points about the fallback messages here. See guys, the points to be remembered here. If the communication of FIAN client is works, the communication is what? FIAN client. We are using how many ways of communicating guys total here? 3 ways. One is a FIAN client, one is a REST time web client. We are most frequently are using what? FIAN client. If the communication is FIAN client is works, the original method executed return the response. Original method will give the original response. If the communication FIAN client is fails, communication is failed because the service is what? Down. The service is down means what? You are getting error message or fallback message. Yeah. If the communication of the FIAN client is fails, then fallback method executed, return the response. Fallback response. Fallback response is what? Alternative. The real data is not present, you go for what? Dummy data as of now. Some don't say like that is a dummy data. So the user don't know whether it is dummy data or real data, right? User is always watching caps are there or not. He never think that the real caps are what? Dummy data actually. That's what guys. If the communication fails, you get the original response. The original method executed, return the original response. Returns what response guys? Yeah, original response. The communication of the FIAN client is correct, then call fallback method executed, return what? Original response or fake response or fake response. Like fake response or dummy response or dummy. As of now, it is what? Dummy, then that is okay, fine. See guys, when you take the fallback, you need to remember the third point is like, connect the fallback signature rule at the rate circuit breaker annotation. We need to handle circuit breaker using annotation is what? At the rate circuit breaker. Original method, see, there are two things. Either original method got executed, otherwise what? Fallback. Communication is good means what? Original method. Now you call the service. The service is upper original method got executed, you return the response. If this service is not responding properly, then circuit breaker is triggered. What is triggered? Circuit breaker is triggered, and you enter into what state? Closed state to open state to what? Half open state. Meanwhile, when you enter in the open state, guys, you guys are entering into what state? Open state. What we should do? In open state, like when you are entering to open state, you want message, original response or fallback response or fallback response. When the original response is comes from the Excel service, give the original response. But as of now, original response is showing a fallback or fallback. See guys, when you take the fallback method, the return type, the fallback method should be return type, fallback method name, parameters. See, this is the original method. See, if the original method is like return type, method name, parameters are there. Fallback method also take the same return type. See, original method returns the caps, but original method is not responding. Original service is what? Not responding. We need to give what? Fallback response. Fallback response also we should give the dummy caps. You want to show the Larissa. You need to show what? Only dummy caps, right? That's what means. Original method return type, fallback method return type, original method name, fallback method name. A original method means what? Whose method? Current service method or exchange method? Exchange method. No, exchange method because you are the original method, right? You have what method? Yeah, original method. But this original method responding or not responding? Then what method got executed? Fallback method belongs to you guys, then huh? See, I want to give the response to the client, my owner. I called you guys. You guys are not responding to me. You guys are not responding to me. I don't say like my owner said that these guys are not responding. Instead of saying like those guys are not responding, give some dummy response. Give some what? Dummy. It means who is giving the dummy response here? Currency conversion, currency exchange. Currency. You are calling these fellows are responding properly, give the original response to the clients. If these fellows are not responding, say that they are not responding when you if you said like caps are not responding, there is no caps available, means who will use Ola and Go, right? No one is using the application, right? That's what to make the user experience is better. Even we delete that, it's all on what? Long back like 2000 at that time, if the data is not there, you show the message that data is not available. Every time it's showing that first only tell me if data is available, remaining all times data is available, not available, not available. Then user experience becomes what? Very less. That's what is the original method? Currency exchange is original method, currency conversion is original method. You are the original method, original response should give. But these guys are giving original response and not giving up. Then what you should do? Fall back to whom? Client people fall back. Then you take the original method return type, original method name, parameters. Fallback methods can take what same return type, same method name, but parameters you can take as the parameters. Along with the parameters, you can take one exception like throwable exception, guys. So original method signature and your method signature, fallback method signature both must be same. Extra is what we have to take as your exception because fallback method should be triggered when the real service is not working, right? Fallback should be triggered what? When the real service is not working. That's what. So original method syntax, fallback method syntax must be same. But fallback method contains extra is what? Exception information. Because fallback method is triggered when the application is what? Communication success, communication failure type. Wait, this fallback method when it is triggered, guys? This is triggered when the communication success failure. That's what communication failure you can fallback message. Communication failure means what exception rise. That's what you handle the extra attribute is what extra parameter is what throwable. What extra parameter ma? Okay, that's it guys. The fallback method must what is the fallback method must return the same return type as original method. Okay, the fallback method and original method both have what? Same return type. The fallback method and what? Original method must have same return type or different return type. The fallback method and original method must have the same return type. Point one. And fallback method arguments. Fallback method and original method. The fallback method argument same as what? Original method arguments. Extra is what argument guys here? Probable. One extra point is probable because fallback method executed when the communication success, communication failure. Communication is what? Fail, right? Like that. Wait, that is a concept, guys. Go for the currency conversion service. This is a currency conversion service, right? Currency what? Conversion service. See, guys, I will do one small modification. Currency conversion, are you writing service layer? Service layer, no, right? But service layer is required, guys. You please add the service layer for the proper handling. Go for the one more layer is what? Currency service layer. I click on the new. I want a what class? What the class name is your currency conversion. Currency, just you can write the currency conversion what? Service. Currency conversion service, guys. You make the fine. Currency conversion service class is there. Currency conversion service. You need to make at the rate what annotation guys at the rate service annotation. At the rate what annotation of service. At the rate service annotation is good. After that, at the rate service annotation. And to this controller method, we got what object is here? Currency request object. Fine. You please auto while that at the rate what the concept here? Auto while. What you should auto while is here? Currency conversion service. Currency conversion service, you please auto wire currency. I think I didn't say one. Currency conversion service. This is one right. That what annotation? Service annotation. Fine. Just we can go for the currency conversion service. Currency conversion what? Service. Currency conversion service. Currency conversion service you created, guys. You please call that currency conversion service. Other service we call say. Call that other service. Tell me guys how to call that other service. Comment this code and you please comment it down now. Next one is what? You call that other service. Tell me guys how to call other service here. Currency conversion service. Currency what? Conversion service dot calculate total amount method. Calculate what? Calculate the conversion, right? Simply you can take the message, calculate the conversion, you pass the argument is a currency request object. You give the request details to what layer? Service layer. Now you can place the cursor, that method is there, not there, not there. You please click on what? Creator. See, we handle the fee and client communication, right? You please here auto while with what? REST template, calculator, fee and client. Fee and client auto. So here, what you can say here, fee and client. There is a fee and client code yesterday class. This one, right? You please uncomment this fee and client code. This is a fee and client code. Go for the currency conversion service. Here you please uncomment what? Fee and client code. Fee and client code, and you can write the what you guys here? Fee and client code. Fine. Then you can call that fee and client code at what? Tell me, fee and client code at what? Fee and client code. This one, right? And you please cut this code here. You cut this code, and you currency repository also cut this code here. And here you can come to the application, we place a code. So here this is the fee and client code that what we are calling here? Retrieve exchange value. We are giving what? From and to currency. Then he returns what object is currency exchange object. Then we got the currency exchange dot get exchange rate. This is a storage count. And currency repository. Previously repository is auto-weight in what layer? Controller layer. But here it is good. The service is good. Service is good. You please cut that place here and you can make the service layer here. Right? Good. Okay, that is the data in here and fine. Okay, that is the data. See, after that, currency conversion dot calculate currency request. This one here. Okay, this is service layer method, right? You please delete this all the code. I don't want this one because if I want, I can write later. Yeah, this is called service layer, controller layer, guys. Controller layer, we got the only what we can say here. Input. The input is sent to what layer here? Input is sent to what layer? Service layer. Once the input is sent to service layer, then this is service layer is got executed. This is the fee and client get exchange rate. This all and saved object and return the saved object better. Return what object is here? Saved object. Once if you return the saved object, you place the cursor and change the return type. Once if you change the return type is what currency response object. Then here it is come to the you are calculating service layer. Then we need to hold that what return value. Hold the return value, guys. Hold the return value is what object here? Saved object. Then we need to return the saved object. Hey, make the code is that much clear. That's all. Guys, here I don't want this auto wiring because the auto wire can place, right? Hey, this is the controller layer, very clear. That is a controller layer. Controller layer, we are auto wiring only what service layer. You got the currency request object, give the currency request details to the service layer. Service layer is auto wiring what fee and client and currency repository file, and you calculate them on return them, right? That is a process. That is what is process. Good. Hey, this is the method. This is the method is communicating is what? Why this is what layer, guys? Yeah, service layer. Here this method only communicating with what? This method only communicating with what method? Because you are calling what? Fee and client data. Retrieve exchange value. It means this line only calling what? Fee and client communication, right? This line is what? Communicating the. Tell me, this line is communicating what? Fee and client. You do one thing. Let me run this project. So calculate the process. Just right click on what? And click on what? Start. Once you click on the start. See, guys, now let me stop the, let me stop the target service. Fee and client is calling what service, guys? Fee and client is calling what service? Fee and client is calling what service? Currency exchange. Through what? Through IP address or through application name? Call yes. Assume that I will stop the exchange service. If I stop the exchange service means this line will become success or failure. Fee and client uses it. You are using the fee and client, you are calling what method, guys? Retrieve exchange value. You are calling exchange value. But that exchange service is up or down now? Down. If it is a down means then what happened? Communication success, communication failure. Communication is what? Failure. Let me show the communication fail. You got some exception. You got what? Some exception. So guys, you got some exception. I changed the code to the conversion service here. Fine, you got the exception. You please open the Eureka server. It is working with hey, Eureka server is mandatory. Otherwise, the communication is done or not done. No, not done. Because application we are using. IP address is directly possible that we are not using in real time because IP address is a static. IP address can be changed. Why? Scaling process. Because of scaling, the IP address when we want change. Let me open this one, guys. And now you will get the output or you will not get the output. You will get the output or you will not get the output. We are calling what here? Fian client at Fian client at what? Retry exchange value. You are calling the target service, right? Hey, here currency in the Eureka server both are registered or one is registered? Both are registered means what? Both are active. Both are active means communication success or failed. No? Success. Yeah. Communication success. Failed Raju. Success Raju. Because both are running right. Both are in up. Both are up means what? If you click on the send, you will get what? Output. See guys, now if you click on the send, you will get the output. It's not a problem. Just you can check the output here. We got the output. See guys, that is the both are success. Now you can see the output like this is what? 105 because you given the pound value. You give the USD guys. USD means what? Click on send button. Once you click on the send button, now you see the output here. We got a 65. Communication working or not working? Okay. If the communication is working fine, let me go to the services. Can you please stop the target service? Who is the target service here? Excel service. You please right click and stop the service here. Please stop it. Okay, success or stop. Stop. Okay, this is a stop. I stop the service. Once you stop the service now, you stop what? Service. Now you can come to what? Data. Then you can call what? Send. When I click on the send means what happened guys? Target service is there or not there? Not there means communication success or communication failed. Communication is what? Failed. Communication is failed. That's what if you click on what? Send. You click on what? Send. Now you will get the fee and client issues guys. You read that message. Now see guys, the fee and client exception you got. What exception is that? Fee and exception. Fee and exception means fee and client only connecting with what? Another right? Yes, sir. See, fee and exception, when you got the fee and exception, this is called fee and exception. Service is available, unavailable. Exactly. It means you are calling the target service. The target service is what? Cool. అది నేను రాకుండా ఎలా తెట్నే ఉంటుంది అది ఏముంటుందో నిద్రే వస్తుంది ఏమవుతుందిరా నిద్రే వస్తుంది ఆర్టిస్ట్ నిద్రపోతాడు ఏం చేస్తాడు వాడికి ఏమర్థమైంది ఇదంతా నువ్వు ఉన్నావు ఎప్పుడు వస్తావు ఏం చేస్తాడు but no problem. But some people will use a right for their marriage discussing. You change all the data to what? Controller. Communication is a fail. Communication fail means what happened here. Fail not what? Fail exception. Fail exception means what? Service available and unavailable. Unavailable because communication success or fail. Fail. If the communication fail means what? You don't give the failed message to the client. If you give the failed message to the client, then what happened? Client will feel very bad. He will not use your application. That's what you want to give this exception, this kind of exception. So you want to give the fallback response. And now you give the fallback response. You want fallback response. See guys, fallback response. Where is the original method? This is the method is calling the your method. That method is calling what? This is your method. Your method is calling what? Excel service. But Excel service responding or not responding? Not responding. You copy paste the same method as it is. You copy paste same method, same logic. You can copy paste, no problem at all. Same method you can make it guys. This is like give the message like fall back. Tell me guys, fall back. Calculation total calculate the conversion. This is a fallback response. What message? Fallback. See, for understanding purpose, I take some dummy object. Dummy object. To understand the process, how we are doing. How we are what doing. See, if this method is success, what response you are giving to client? Currency response. If communication failed also, what method got executed? Fallback. Give the same response to the client. Currency response. What response? Currency response. Hey, here who is giving the fallback message? Excel service is giving a currency conversion is giving a because client is calling one method, Excel method, currency conversion method. Exactly. Then who is giving a fallback method? You are thinking you are giving, you are not giving, right? You are client is calling, your client is calling currency conversion. Client is calling currency conversion means they need to interact to you guys. You guys are not responding, they will what? Said like client not responding, said not responding, what you can say? Fallback. Exactly. Okay, this is the fallback method. Sir, okay, sir, how can you handle this fallback? See, guys, this is the method we need to trigger. See, guys, where the communication is happening, there you can trigger the circuit breaker concept. What you have to trigger? The what method is doing communication, guys? This method is doing communication. Here, trigger what? Circuit breaker. You can trigger it. Because you are calling these fellows, if these fellows are not responding, you enter into what? Closed state to open state to half open state for the communication. And when you enter into open state, don't give what? Error message to the client, you give what message now? Fallback. Where the communication is there, you can trigger what message is your circuit breaker. Which method communication is happening in what? Which method communication is what? అప్పుడు అవుతుందా తర్వాత జాబ్ లో నాకే కష్టపడి చదువుకొని కష్టపడి నిద్రపోయి కష్టపడి వీడియోస్ చూసుకొని రాత్రి అంతా బొమ్మలు చూసి రాత్రంతా చూసి అన్ని పెళ్ళిళ్ళు ఎంజాయ్ చేసి అందరం చూసుకొని హాస్టల్లో 3 పూటలు తినేసి వచ్చి పద్ధతిగా ఏం చేస్తారా because I want job, right? I will hard work. Which method communication is? Tell me, guys. Which method communication is what? Happen. That method what? Activate the what concept is circuit breaker. That concept circuit breaker activate shit. In which method communication happen? That method target circuit breaker. Because which method is communicating? That method is successor. That response return. That method is failed. In each method communication is happened, that method activate the circuit breaker, right? If the method is success, the method is what? If the method communication is what? Communication is success. Method communication is what? Success. Then what response? Original response. In which method communication is happened, that the method activate what? Circuit breaker. ఏ మెథడ్ దగ్గర అయితే మీరు కమ్యూనికేట్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నారో ఆ మెథడ్ దగ్గర మీరు సర్క్యూట్ బ్రేకర్ అని రాయండి, రాసి వెయిట్ చేయండి. అప్పుడు అక్కడైతే అది తెలుగు వీడియోస్ మీరు వెయిట్ చేయండి, నిద్రపోమాకండి. అక్కడ నిద్రపోకుండా చూస్తూ ఉంటే అప్పుడు ఆ రెస్పాండ్ అనేది, ఆ సర్వీస్ అనేది మనకి రెస్పాన్స్ ఇస్తుంది. ఆ రెస్పాన్స్ ఇచ్చిందనుకోండి, మనం ఏం చేస్తాము? తిని నిద్రపోతాం. ఏం చేస్తావురా? తిని నిద్రపోతాం. రెస్పాన్స్ ఇయ్యలేదనుకోండి, అప్పుడు మనం ఏం చేయాలో ఆలోచిస్తాము. ఇది కూడా అంతే. ఫాదర్స్ మనీ ఇచ్చారనుకోండి, తిని ఏం చేస్తారు? నిద్రపోతాడు. అదే ఫాదర్ మనీ ఇవ్వకపోతే ఆ రోజు ఫాదర్ మనీ వాట్ నువ్వు అంతే నా రోజు పోతే అర్థమైందా? నేను అడగండి, రెస్పాన్స్ ఇస్తే రెస్పాన్స్ ఇస్ కమింగ్, then what? Where we have to activate a circuit breaker, in which method we have to activate a circuit breaker, first of all, then we will have clarity. In which method we have to activate a circuit breaker? What method you are going to communicate and what method, on which method is going to communicate with what? Other service, there we need to activate what circuit breaker. If the method of communication is success, then what happened here? Original response. If the method of communication is failure, what happened here? Fallback response. Fallback response means what? Alternate response. When the real person is not coming, the fake person is coming, right? This is called what response here? Fallback response. That's it. First, you should know where we should activate the circuit breaker. Number one. Once if you activate the circuit breaker, then what happened? What happened? Communication success means success response is given. Communication failure means what response? That is only target one. That's all that case. That's all that case. That's all. That is the data, guys. See, here we need to activate the circuit breaker. At the rate, what annotation is on circuit breaker. Okay, circuit breaker, you give the name of the circuit breaker. Name of the circuit breaker. Okay, this is the name of the circuit breaker. My circuit breaker fine, but better to give the service name is good actually. What the service name is here? Currency service. Currency conversion service. Otherwise, for understanding purpose, my circuit what? Breaker. My circuit breaker, you give the circuit breaker animation. And next one argument is like, you give the circuit breaker name, comma, next one is what? Fallback method. See, on what method you are going to, which method is going to communicate with other, that method you need to activate what? Circuit breaker, right? Circuit breaker name is what is here? My circuit breaker. Second one is what? Fallback method. What's the fallback method you want to execute here? Fallback, calculate the total like that. Yes, give the fallback method. That's all. Circuit breaker is taking how many arguments now? Two. One is what? Circuit breaker name. Second one is what? Fallback method name. Then this fallback method executed. See guys, fallback method executed means original response is coming a dummy response. Does dummy response means the calculation of total any remove చేసేయండి. You don't give dummy response object ఇవ్వండి. That's it. Real response or dummy response or currency response. See, original response means what? Getting the exchange rate, calculating the total amount, giving the total amount. Giving what? Total amount. But now we are calculating the total amount, you are giving a dummy response or dummy response. What response are? Dummy response. Give the exchange rate dummy by default 1.0. I'm giving dummy values, but dummy response is giving. Total amount is what is here? Total amount is what? 1 into what? Quantity, right? To get the quantity is your currency request dot get what? Get the quantity. That's it, guys. 1 into get quantity, local time and time data. Hey, only this is what? Original response or dummy response? Yes. That's all, guys. Return the dummy response. Dummy response you want store in the database? Okay, if you want, you can save in the database dummy response, but generally in real time will not store. Return what object is here? Currency response. That's all. Here they will tell you what fallback response you have to do. This is our fallback response, first one original response. This is original response. Original response means what? Fee and client is working fine, get the exchange rate is coming fine, get what? Exchange rate to calculate the total amount and set the currency what object? Convert currency response object. The response object contains all the values and return that save that original data into what? Database. Save that original data into the database and return that saved object. That is the original. What is a dummy? Fallback. Dummy also return the same response or different response? Same response with dummy values. Because user is asking the caps are not available. You show only what? Dummy caps. Don't show dummy lorries, right? Lorries and bus. Are you showing lorry and bus? Oh, no. Show what? Dummy response. Hey, that's it, guys. Now this is you need to check the, that the circuit breaker is working or not. This is a fallback is what? Handled or not. Fallback is what? Triggered or not. What it should trigger guys here? Fallback. We got it up. That is the data guys. Enough. Only one annotation I added. What annotation at the return? Circuit breaker, right? Hey, now you can go to the application. You click on what? Send. If I click on the send, click on what? Send. You see the click on what button there's your send. Previously, what exception you got? Huh? Why PN exception? Because communication success or failure? Communication is what? Failure. Communication is failure, and now you click on the sender. Now, if the communication is failure, now see guys, communication is what? Success, failure, or failure? Yeah, communication is what? Failure. This is called fail exception, guys. You got what? Fail exception, right? Good. Hey, working or not working on? Previous exceptionally communication failed exception. Fallback triggered or not triggered? Fallback is not triggered. Sir, why the fallback is not triggered, sir? Because you called the services, you called, but these guys are not responding. Then you enter into what state? Closed state to open state. Keep on calling. These guys are responding, not responding. You enter into what state? Well, respond to the phone, on the phone, but someone is not responding. You don't send 100 times, you don't call. Why you are calling that many times? You enter into what? Keep on, if you are calling, then what happened here? The service is affected, then what? Entire network is breakdown. You are in what state? Closed state. Closed state means all calls you can send. But he is responding, not responding. Not responding. You enter into what state? Open state. When you enter into open state, what is triggered? Fallback is triggered. What is triggered, guys? How much time you are in the open state? You guys send the request, multiple calls allowed sharing. The status is a closed state. You can send all the calls to target service. One call, all calls on మొత్తం సెండ్ చేయండి వాళ్ళకి వాళ్ళు రెస్పాన్స్ ఇస్తారు ఎండ్ చేయండి assume that they are not sending the response. If these guys are not responding, don't say like keep on calling పట్టుమాక బస్సు పెట్టి గంటలో don't not play. You enter into what state? Open state. Some cool down one. What period? Open state is nothing but cool down period. You enter into what state? Open state. Cool down కాసేపు కొద్ది కూల్ అవ్వండి కొద్ది కూల్ అయ్యి కొద్ది వాటర్ తాగి మళ్ళీ ఎక్కడికి వస్తారు half open, then you send the request to these people. Half open state, you send the request to what? These people. 100 requests, few calls are. Still few calls he is not responding. First time closing state, how many calls you are sending? Few calls are multiple calls are multiple calls. Then these guys are not responding. You are entering what state? Cool down. Once the cool down is done, again you are turning for half open state. Half open state, you are sending multiple calls out. That's right. When you are entering to open state, there only one trigger to fall back. That is the reason, guys. We require the properties, right? We need to add the properties. Then only circuit breaker is triggered. What property? What property? How many properties total? 5. What is 5 properties? Circuit breaker properties. Hey, circuit breaker properties added or not added? Not added. How many properties we have there? 5. What are the 5? Sliding window size. The second one is what? What is the sliding window size? Second one is what? Failure rate threshold. First one is a failure rate threshold, I think, right? First one is what? Failure rate. Okay, anything is fine. Failure rate threshold means your failure rate is more than the threshold. Then you enter into what? Open state to closed state to open state. Sliding window size. The failure rate is decided by how many calls. 100 calls or 10 calls, that is the failure. Third one is what? Failure rate. Waiting duration in the cool down period, right? 30 seconds to give. Fourth one is what? Automatic transition from open state to open state. Fifth one. Number of calls allowed in what state? Half open state, right? These are 5 properties we should give. Understand that? Tell me the 5 calls. 5 properties. Pitch theory. What a pitch theory? Sir, one time you told na, I will not understand, sir. 2 times you told not understand, sir. After class, if I read, I'll understand, sir. Theory, right? 5 properties. Just now we discussed, right? At least there is some properties fast. Wait, we have a lot of process. The process one, check the communication failed. Step 1. Step 1, processor 1, first what we done, tell me guys, see, communication success also check chain. Just you can check the communication, success or not. Success and check chain, communication success. Communication success, make the communication success first step. Make what? Communication success. First use the peer client, make the communication success. Communication what? Success. Success say no. See the output is coming properly or not. See the output coming properly or what? Not. First step check check. Second step, you stop the exchange service. Stop the exchange service. Check the TN exception is coming or not. Step by step, then you can do what? Step by step process. Check the few exception coming or not. Coming or not. Step 3, what we should do? Add the circuit breaker. Add the circuit breaker at the, tell me guys, at the rate what? Circuit breaker check change. At the rate circuit breaker with the fall back method. You add this third step is like fallback method. Where we have to add a circuit breaker means which method you are communicating, that method you add a circuit breaker. Then you are checking the output, but the circuit breaker is activated or not activated? Not activated. Step 4, add the circuit breaker properties. Circuit what? Circuit breaker properties to activate the circuit breaker, right? To activate the to activate what? Circuit. Yeah, to activate a circuit. Add the circuit breaker properties. Tell me circuit breaker properties. How many properties total? Tell me properties. Huh? పొరలేని సోది చెప్పిన వేస్ట్ రా నేను తెలియట్లేదు కానీ ఏం చేస్తారు మహా అయితే ఈ మళ్ళీ క్లాస్ అయిపోయినాక మొత్తం చదువుకొని రాసుకుంది యాక్చువల్లీ మైక్రో సర్వీస్ వాట్ ఈస్ మైక్రో సర్వీస్ అంటే నాకు ఏం చెప్తాను how many times yesterday how many times you told the properties today how many times I told properties still this fellow how many properties 5 tell me at least 2 properties 3 properties no no don't know no stand beside the screen నీకున్న పెన్నులు బ్లూ షర్ట్ నీకున్నాయండి స్పెట్స్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఇవ్వమ్మా స్లైడింగ్ ఇంటూ సైజ్ పై స్లైడింగ్ ఇంటూ సైజ్ what purpose ఈ జీవితం పవన్ ఇస్తాడా failure rate threshold అంటే ఏంటి what's the failure rate threshold our failure rate is greater than failure rate threshold what the threshold you are setting then open state nice second problem no problem solve and then what is sliding into this last how many calls you need to decide whether it is what failed or failed or what failed or what success that is like failure rate uh, that's it guys hey add the circuit breaker properties ఇప్పుడు discuss start చేసాం అనుకో మీరు ఎంత చెప్పారు నాకు కోపం వచ్చింది అనుకో ఈ ఫ్లోర్ I get the irritation, in the irritation what brain will not work, you'll get the output on output time waste. Hey, let me go for this one, guys. Hey, sit. Hey, Monday you write the exam on microservices. You come class, sit. Take proper 2 chairs, you take properly and just sleep. Hey, Monday you write the exam. Project deploy చేద్దామంటేనేమో circuit breaker properties we had total how many circuit breaker properties means we had the 5 properties guys. What are the 5 properties means you please cross check the 5 properties guys and you can go for the circuit breaker name circuit breaker one name. Okay, this is like circuit breaker properties. You need to add the 5 properties about circuit breaker. But first property guys here sliding window size. Sliding window size how many calls are given here 10. Second is what failure rate threshold. Failure rate threshold how much percentage 50%. Next one is what wait duration in open state. How much time they will wait 30 seconds. Automatic transition from off open state to half open state is what enabled. Permitted number of calls in half open state is how many guys here 5 calls are allowed right many calls are 5 calls Guys, let me copy these properties and you please make it the application or what property file. Go for the property circuit breaker properties, guys. Go for the circuit breaker properties. Yeah. Okay, this is the Eureka properties and this is all fine. This is our MySQL properties and go for the circuit breaker properties. These are the reference fortune dot circuit breaker dot instances dot and this is circuit breaker name. Or circuit breaker name you given that should be matched my circuit breaker, right? Same name or name change. You please cross check here because circuit break my m small circuit my circuit breaker. Nice. Now here you can come my circuit breaker sliding window size. Hey, sorry. That's it, guys. Now circuit breaker is activated. What is activated? Mom, circuit breaker is activated. See, guys, once the circuit breaker is activated, add the circuit breaker properties to activate the circuit breaker. Guys, fine. You get this one. Hey, how many steps you done, madam? 4 steps. First step for communication success rate. First step. Add the service layer code and make the communication success with PN client only. Don't use REST template and web client. You please comment that I want only with what? PN client. Make the communication success with PN client, guys. See the output coming or not. Next step is what? You need to stop the exchange service. Stop the exchange service, check the PN client exception is coming on. Once it is coming up, add the fallback method. Once the fallback method is coming up, fallback method output will not get. Activate the circuit breaker with the circuit breaker properties. What properties are? Circuit breaker properties. Circuit breaker properties add join. After adding circuit breaker properties, now you can come to the file. You click on what? Send. You click on bottom send. If I click on the send, guys, now you see the data. When I click on what? Send. Yeah. Something like the value changed during get call exercise of the load balancer does not contain the instances from the service. Currency exchange and the VM client error status fine. Because the services. Okay, you do one thing. You please start the services once. Let me start the 3 services. Let me check the click on what start. Restart. Just I added circuit breaker properties is all right. You please restart all the projects rotate or not. Once if you start all the projects are working or not, step 1 is what guys? Make the communication success. Make the communication success, you please check it. It's going to start. Use the port numbers properly, guys. Don't use 8080 port. Stop it. You get the 8005, 8006 for the services. 8761 is what? Eureka. Eureka. Now you please cross check the 2 services are registered or not first. The 2 services are registered. Then you can come to the file. You click on what? Send. Once if you click on the send, guys, you will get the output. This is what output gets 65 because you are making the USD. Next one, you please check the one more value, click on what? Sender. Once if we click on the sender, then you can go for what? Yeah, 105 you are getting, but it's working fine. That is step 1 is done. Step 2 is what? Stop the what service exchange service. You please stop it. You stop the exchange service. After stopping the exchange service, yeah, you please cross check that the exchange service is connected. Stop. Once if it is stopped, guys, now you please go through the click on what button, guys, send. If I click on the send, now you see, guys. Yesterday class, maybe I disable the FIAN client annotations and enable FIAN clients enable. Open FIAN at the currency exchange from to FIAN client. This is the get mapping. Fine. This is what mapping and get mapping. Here I should add one property for the circuit. This is the circuit breaker. Name is what case here? Currency service. Okay, fine. That is because you taken the breaker name is what? My circuit breaker. See, if the circuit breaker is my circuit breaker, then instances name is what? Circuit breaker. If the circuit breaker name is a currency service, then you can make it as one currency service. That is not a problem. That is what? Not a problem. And anyway, the fallback is not here. Fallback is not required. Okay, this one is a dispatcher sublet. You remember, I'll tell you later in class what the dispatch sublet. Get 503. Get fuel client retrieve exchange value load balancer does not contains does not contains the instances of what service currency exchange with the root cause. Why? Throw exception request. Huh. Because you are communicating with what that guy, but that guy is there or not there? Not there. It's correct code. But we need to trigger what? What message now? Fallback. Yes. Yes. Why that is not triggered fallback means maybe the reason is what the reason? Huh? Pure. Exactly. Nice. Wow, nice. మీరు మంచోళ్ళరా మీరు మంచోళ్ళే కాకపోతే కొద్దిగా hey that you can handle the this is a fallback method right fallback method should be how the response is what throwable once you handle the throwable because communication failed is what who has to capture that communication failed who has to capture fallback what has to capture yeah can I at least ask. That's it guys. Hey, that's it. What extra is required, ma? Throwable. Once if I add the throwable, now you can see the data, guys. Click on what? Send. Guys, if I click on the send, ma, here we expected 200. Yeah. What you got here? 200. 200 is you got the message is what? Yes. Hey, correct or wrong? Correct or wrong? Fallback is trigger. Fallback is dummy message, right? Dummy message exchange rate is what? 1 to B, quantity 10. No? Fallback is trigger, not triggered. It means client is seeing that response, proper response is seeing. But he don't know whether is correct or wrong. Yes or no? That is a fallback. See, you check the fallback is trigger or not. They will tell you the fallback what code you should write. Fallback is what? Fallback, right? Yes or no? That is a great idea. Like those are I'm good in habit because I didn't remember this all on the fly. I'll what? What has not five? Otherwise, if I prepared, I remember this always possible. Now. Possible, no? That is again headache. Again, I need to check. Okay, last night what I read last night. Okay. Fail by job. No, by no one. Why? Why? Because I work for real time, so I know how to handle the situations. Because errors are what? Come on. I got the error. I'm checking why that error. I decided. Yesterday we got the error. Load balancing is not done. If I normal mode, I can get the idea. No, if I'm teaching for the corporate training, I will get automatically because they are interested, I am interested, and the interest will go for the all the concept properly. Here, what I need to wake up you guys, stand up. You see, I told five properties, you don't know five properties. ఎవరు నిద్రపోతున్నారు ఎవరు నిద్రపోవట్లే అయ్యా చూసుకోవాలా కోడెట్రా if I focus on one subject is I can try. But anyway, you forgot like I copy pasted the same method. I copy pasted what? Same method. Hey, fallback is triggered, not triggered. Triggered. Original response or fallback response? Fallback response. Meanwhile, then what happened? You know, the meanwhile you can go to the application service. What? Click on the start. Excel service is up. Excel service is what? Up. Once the Excel service is up, they make the Excel services up. That Excel people. Once they make the Excel services what? Up. Excel services what? Up. Then once the Excel service is up, guys, you can click on what button here? Send. Once if you click on what? Send. Now you get the fallback response or original response or original response. Original response you got like 65 page. Or 65 or not 5? Why pound value, right? Because you may be given a pound value. Fine. That is original response or fallback response. That is a fallback response of what? Original response. Why that is the circuit breaker. Sir, you told that up state, down state, unknown state, right? That I will show you practical in the evening class. First, you see that what you can say here. All the what you can say circuit breaker is working on that with property circuit breaker properties, right? What property? Circuit breaker. Hey, how many steps do we need to follow? 4. Step 1. Make the communication success first. Success second. Then you stop the Excel service. Check that communication is failed or not. Yes, communication is failed. Then activate the fallback. Circuit, add the circuit breaker with fallback method. Where we should add the circuit breaker is which method you are communicating with what. Other that method you have to add what? Circuit breaker. If the method communication is successful, then what? Original response. Method communication is what? Failure, then what response? But only this annotation is working, we should add the properties of properties. Circuit breaker properties like how much time you are in the closed state, open state, and what off open state, how many calls should do, automatic transition from off open state to what. That all the states will be coding. That's coding. I got it done. Yeah. Evening class, I will tell you that how to show the up state service upload on the down state or unknown state. I will send the 5 calls. Calls are failed. Then you see that is going for up state, down state, and what unknown state. Because to show all the states, I require the activators concept. Evening, I will tell you the activators. Along with the activators, I will show you the I will show you the activators. What is how the activators are enabled? What is the activator and how to open the activators code and. Activators means what? Application health and application metrics. How to check the application health, the application metrics, what the URLs we need to follow. Up state, down state, I know a state and unique choice stuff. Evening we will discuss what all the states. Monday you have the exam on microservices, the written exam. You will get the paper and you write the exam on Monday. Monday you write what? Exam. Exam తో ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ ఎగ్జామ్ పెడితే Circuit breaker with what? Fallback method. In which method where we have communication happen, that method activate the circuit breaker. Add the circuit breaker properties to activate the circuit. How many steps? 4 steps, right? Write the points. Yesterday class, how many you've done? Hey, written what's the fallback? Huh? Steps are assessment also. Step 1, make the communication success with PM clients. Make the communication success with PM client. See the output coming properly or not. Stop the exchange service. Stop the exchange service. Fallback details. Hey, 1 second. ఎక్కడ రాశారు? Step 1 is completed. Step 1 రాయండి అయితే స్టెప్ 3 వరకు.